live finally, I think. Hopefully you can hear me. Hopefully it can be seen. My A10 Mini does not want to play nice with OBS for some reason. It's causing all sorts of havoc. So I had to do a quick reset to Camlink. So anyhow, I wanted to talk about closed backs. I have a couple on hand, a couple of surprises. I wanted to kind of compare the Sony CD900STs, these bad boys, against kind of the other headphone closed backs I have on hand. I have these. I have the Beyerdynamic 1770 Pro, the T5 Mark II, the second generation, I believe. Man, dude, my audio is so jacked. That was the other thing I was having issues with, man. My audio was just not working. It was doing all sorts of crazy stuff. So hopefully it's not super wonk. Might have to switch to Apple. Oh, for goodness sake. Cool. Glad you guys are hearing it fine. How's it going? DP, Last Rhino, Drift, Ninja, what's up? Andy, A. Martin, thanks for joining. Yeah, I guess real quick, just kind of dive into the different. I'm going to try to do like this as fast as I possibly can to some level. Just because there's so many headphones to compare against. So I'm trying to think the best way to do this would probably be to kind of blaze through, like listen to one. I'll probably start with these just because I want to use these as the baseline because I think these are the cheapest ones I have on hand, and then kind of do a comparison from those moving forward through the different like tiers, I guess, and kind of compare them that way. And I'm gonna have an epic crap ton of headphones all over the place, so this is gonna get messy. So these things are relatively old design, and I'm also listening off the ZH1ES on Qobuz for those unaware. And let's see, let's start with I'm gonna do Miss Ida B by Buddy Guy. I've been really liking that for stuff recently. Let's see here. Make sure I'm in Wasabi. And obviously I'm not gonna be able to volume match super great, but I'll do my best to volume match between the things. So this is definitely not super scientific or anything like that. No measurements or anything like those lines, just mostly my impressions and experience of these. These are great right off the bat with this. You can get their guitar really good. Has a nice mid presence, it seems like. Treble isn't very harsh. It's real mellow. These are really nice sounding headphones. And so I guess the next one to compare them to, I guess, would be, got the, whatever these ones are. I think these are the T5s. Yeah, T5s. So I'll set these up for the next comparison. Maybe I'll just do like kind of like, does this beat this? And if it does, it move it along kind of thing. So these are actually kind of, they're real nice looking cups. I really like the look of the cup here. Not the biggest fan of the pads, but they're soft. They're nice. Round shape. And let's go into right versus left. Which one is left? There you go. Oh, that's kind of cool. They have like an angled insert. I have not listened to these yet, so as a heads up. I really like his vocals here. The piano, fantastic. Sounds really good. It's not in your face. The vocals are definitely more forward than the rest. And the piano is definitely up there too. The splashes are nice on the hi-hat or cymbals. All right, let's swap out to the wonderful T5P Mark II. A little bit springy in the headband. Sorry about that, Drift. A little discombobulated. Cool. Sorry, let me get back to look at the words on the screen. This has one of those funky adapters to go to 3.5 to a quarter. See how these, about right, came close. How's everybody doing today, by the way? So fun Tuesday. Kind of Monday was. I had a real bad case of the Monday blues yesterday. That's a good question, Last Rhino. Fake CD900. I'm not too versed in the CD900 world. These are the first ones I've heard, and I'm really impressed with them. So that would be something. I don't know. I don't know about the how prevalent fake CD900s are on the eBay world. I know that there's a Drifting Bunnies can mention he bought a pair of modded ones. I guess there's a really cool modding community around them where they add a bunch of really cool stuff to them, and then you get the Yaxi pads on them because they're actually kind of the on-ear kind of design. The pads are real shallow, even though it's focusing on my face. Come on, block. There you go. Pads are a little shallow, but you get the Yaxi pads for these, and it gives them more of a over-ear experience. And honestly, they're sturdy. They're solidly built. Plastic with some like aluminum, I think maybe. But overall, it looks like a steel band, and it has like a nice. I mean, it's got the retro studio monitor up top. That's what it reminds me of. It reminds me of a good studio monitor headphone. These things, I should probably turn the volume because I don't know how sensitive these are. I haven't really been keeping track of the Beyers. So this is my first time listening to these. I could tell the piano, there's something with the guitar sounds good. Piano sounds good. These sound pretty good. So far, they remind me, they have a similar sound signature to the 900s. Granted, this is this specific track, so I like the piano. The voice isn't as good. The vocals aren't as good. I would say the piano seems to be more forward now instead of the vocals. And the splash is a little more splashy on the cymbals. Let's see here. Yeah, between these two, let me switch to another more new age track, I guess. Actually, let me switch to my go-to Go-Go Penguin real quick. Well, that's actually, this one kind of covers that. So let's go. I like this one because it has a lot of reverb in the track itself. The Think About Love by Wild Rivers. The female and male vocals too. And then the where the recording has a lot of echo. Her vocals sound good. On the guitar, it's funny now. The electric guitars or a guitar sounds further back. The vocals are more forward, but not. It doesn't seem as forward as the 900s. And the bass isn't as present either. Like the strummed bass. Let me scrub forward. And these are enjoyable. I mean, so far I've not come across anything that's exponentially gnarly. I'll turn up a little bit. I'm probably listening at about mid 70 decibels. That's probably my listening level right now. And the bass is good. It doesn't have very thump. It just has this like kind of like I don't want to make it sound like it has farty bass, but it has like that. It's there, but it's not very. It doesn't have an impact, and it doesn't have like the thump or a punch to it. It's kind of more of the like a. I don't know. I'm making weird noises now. Let's see. What's up, Voodoo? Yeah, let me switch back to the 900s with these, and then we'll switch to the 1770s. All right, so I'd say, but right off the bat, I would say that this has a very similar. This is the Mark II, so these I believe are discontinued now. The T5P Mark IIs. So now they're at the 3, which I hear I think each iteration has a different tuning, so that's something to be thoughtful about. But these sounded. I thought these were fine. Nothing too egregious. Nothing. I mean, So, but we'll do a back-to-back one more time with those, or maybe we'll just, I'm gonna make this the star of the show today. So we'll make this as like the baseline to compare against, because this is a $200-ish headphone that's, you know, fairly old, so kind of a unique signature. Let's see, scrub through this a little bit, back on this. Oh, whoa. Yeah, way more presence in the mids, or vocals especially. Guitar feels a little more present. His vocals are definitely more present, and God, I want to say the imaging might actually be better. It's not as, this has, the T5 seemed like a wider stage, but this one has, I almost want to say this has better imaging. Like I can place the drummer hitting the hi-hat, and like their vocals are like, you could tell they're like right forward. And the bass has a little more oomph to it, like a little more, instead of woo, it's a hmm. But I like the vocals better with these for sure. Yeah, vocals are definitely better with these ones. So I think that would call it just back to back. Sorry, I probably got loud. I'm probably yelling at you. Joy. So yeah, so I think stage seemed better with these. It was a little more flat in the imaging, if that makes sense, or depth wasn't as, it didn't have as much depth. For whatever reason, it seemed like the Sonys had, and that was just this track, so be mindful of that. But the Sony seemed to have a little more depth and a little bit better imaging at placing the different instruments and singers. So something to think about. But overall, they're pretty similar. These, what I would say, is a little bit wider stage. Not the bass didn't sound as right to me with these. But it wasn't like a major issue. So yeah, but overall, these are pretty enjoyable. I didn't mind these. And let's switch to these ones are a little more popular. I think people like these a little bit more, or use them more, I should say. Yeah, my face description is like woo and hmm. Fun factor about the 1770 Pros is I actually prefer the dual-sided. Even the Sony only have the one side, but this is also just a one-sided cable. Build quality similar, but actually I want to say I actually like the way that the T5 does these little notches here. It has a little plastic cover over the top of them. And pretty similar actually overall build quality though. Different cups obviously. These ones have the suede pads on right now, so take that into account. I'm going to be using the suede pads for this little jam session. Let me see if I can find the cable buried deeply in here. Oh yeah, it's buried deep. It has a really cool little pouch that's attached internally to the case that holds the, kind of see it right above the cups there, that holds all the, and then the extra pads are in there as well. Kind of cool, little carry on the go, which kind of goes into the whole studio type deal. Yeah, I believe yes, exactly right, Almec. I did do a little bit of research about that, and the Sonys have been used pretty extensively for that, and I will say the vocals are pretty great on those little Sony CD900s. In fact, that's right. I would also say if you know of any headphone that could rival the vocals of the CD900 for the Sonys, I know Drifting Bunnies is really interested in a really good vocal forward or vocal presentation headphone. Cable for the Beyers. Yeah, the case is actually really nice. I like the little handle it has on it too. When you zip it all up, it has this really cool little like notched handle. I don't have it zipped up and being lazy, but like a little handle grip. It's like a built-in though, so obviously you can slip, but let me see if I can make it look. Yeah, so you just kind of, I mean, decent enough. I mean, I wouldn't want it for it to, if it weighed like a ton, it would be a bad idea, but they're light, so light. Cable's a little bit long and janky. Atticus, yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think of the Atticus for mid-forward. I mean, Drifting Bunnies has had a bunch of ZMFs, so I'm not sure if he wants to attempt another ZMF. Let's see, get these a little bit more. And here's another. I'm also wearing glasses. I should probably take them off. That might. I don't know if people care about that or not, but they're thick brimmed glasses. These are actually comfortable. I like the velour stuff on there. I'm gonna start with these and switch to the Sonys, just because. Why not? So comfort-wise, I actually like the comfort on these. These are the 1770s, so let's dive into that. You know what? I'm going to stick to this Thinking About Love just because I like the reverb, and it has a lot of different things that are going on with it. It's not the best bass track, but everything else is pretty good for it. The bass is slightly better with these. Got a little bit of grain in the vocals, though. The bass is definitely better, though. It feels, the bass sounds a little bit similar to this. Vocals are still that not as forward, but they're definitely present more than the rest of it. But the hi-hats seem a little bit more forward. Actually, it's still, no, it's like that level playing field almost. It's like everyone's in a line as far as depth of like the... Yeah, it seems like everything's kind of... The bass has a little bit further back, but everything else seems like it's right there on an even playing field. Yeah, there's something weird going on with the highs, I think. So I'm not sure I like the highs. It's not bad, it's just for me, I'm not really digging on it. They sound fine though, but there's like a little like a quirk in the highs. I'm not sure if it's grain or what is that? It's like a maybe it's a little bit grainy, but not a lot. It's not like a massive amount. It's like this, just like right on the edge of your conscience almost. Yeah, when it hits the hi-hat, it gets this weird, like, it doesn't have the sparkle that I'm used to. That's what I think that's what it is. It kind of has this like deadening like hi-hat where it should have that sparkle. This one has this like poof poof. Yeah, this one has a coiled cable, so I should have pulled that out. Yeah, it's in the hi-hats. It's whatever's that hi-hat, whatever hertz range that is for you measurements folks. I think that's where that issue is for me with these. Here, let's swap out. So I'm trying to blaze through this real quick because I wanted to get to a bunch of my other headphones as well. But I'll hold these in hand so we can do a back-to-back just in case. Back to the Sonys. So this is also, I said I would do kind of highlight the Sonys a little bit. And let's scrub back to this one. Try to volume match a little bit. Not scientifically volume matched. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't have it high enough to where the peaks weren't too egregious, Eldrick. But yeah, this one has this one's a little bit better. It's just further back. Like I do think that the vocals are definitely a star of the show with these headphones. Like if you like vocals, it's so far I've yet to beat these. Yeah, the vocals are definitely... I like the vocals a lot better here. The hi-hats sound better, but they're further back. Bass was better on the 1770s. Tonal balance between the Beyers and this. The Beyers actually have similar tonal balance, which I would expect. But even with these, the tonal balance seems to be... I would say I slightly prefer their tonal balance of these over the Beyers as well. Just something to like the guitar and like the way the vocals kind of go through the ranges. Yeah. All right. I also have a surprise contender that I brought out just for poos and grins. Let's see here. And these are not, I'm using the very, I'm using not aftermarket, but the, not aftermarket because they're made by the same company, but I'm going to bring out the Campfire Audio Cascades with the XL pads specifically. So these are the extra big. I mean, you can see they kind of, come on, they massively, they're much bigger than the Qobuz. And I found that the XL pads helped a lot with the overall presentation of the Cascades. Cascades for me are a guilty pleasure. They're fun. They are W-shaped in my opinion, so that might be interesting to play against the Sonys. And then from recollection, the Beyers there. These all plugged in with their super crazy fancy HD800 style cables, which I'm not a fan of this cloth covered cable. And it's short, by the way. These are made to be portable. You don't really need a lot of power to run the Cascades. But it's a short cable, and kind of it's nice, but it's not. I don't know, it's not the greatest. And then if it gets kinked, sometimes the cable will pop through the cloth. So something to be aware of. Let's see. Actually, I might be able to utilize so we're both. It's all coming out of the same. It's single-ended. I'm going to use 1/4 inch for both just because. All right, so thing about love, we just did that with these. I'm going to switch back over to the Cascades. Those are springy boys, so I'll take more care taking those off. So yes, the VC will be coming. I do have that sitting here. I also have the Stellia, but that's so I guess. After the Cascades will be the Stellia, and then after the Stellia will be my VC for a quick comparison. I'm just blazing through it. I'm sticking to the one song and going that route, and just doing a quick comparison using the Sonys as like the baseline. So that's kind of what I'm doing, Alex and Tom. Tried the new HiFi closed backs. HiFi I have not. Is that the R10, the Sony knockoffs? I don't think, yeah, I've not. Resolve has the, I think he has the planar version that he's been measuring and testing with and playing with, but he's been going back and forth with HiFi because I think he still has a prototype version, and so I think they're trying to figure out if there's any wonkiness going on. So, but I have not heard those. Not sure if I don't know. I'm not really excited for them, if that makes sense. So. But anyways, Cascades, if I turn these down because these are not as... Okay. Cascades. Bring this up. Oh. Vocals are nice. They're further forward than the Beyers. Not as forward as the Sonys. Bass is definitely a little more present. Like it holds the strum of the stand up or the electric bass. It holds it pretty good. It's like it has that woo for each drum has a longer reverb or a longer sustained sound. Hi-hats sound right. Bass is definitely there though. Like they have the bass. But the vocals are good. Let me turn. When they're both singing in chorus, I'm getting a little bit of grain when they're both singing at once. It gets a little bit kind of, there's a weird warble going on there. The highs are pretty good. The hi-hats sound normal. They have that splash, but it's not a sustained splash like the Sonys. I think that the issue with these things is that weird mid-range grain, like warble grain thing going on, and then the bass these are fun bass heavy. But vocals do so when it's solo vocals, it sounds pretty close to the Sony's. It's not as forward, not as present. These are tough because they're very fun. I really like using these with plugged directly into like a switch for playing games. Using a dongle, I plug them in and listen to movies on my iPad or music on my iPad or on the go. And in fact, these were my go-to closed back headphones on the go. The things that kind of replaced these, to be honest, not that they're closed back, but just for ease of use and just throw in your bag and go and you're traveling or whatever you're doing, is the Koss Porta Pros with the Axi pads. I also have the KSC 75s down here as well. I might do the swap and swap the KSC 75s onto the bands of these just because I hear that's a little bit better sounding soon. But for like portable closebacks that just sound fun, and they're really good with movies and games, if you're not trying to do like competitive or anything like that, but just for fun, these are pretty good. But I think you have to want to have bass. Like if you like bass and you want to have a fun headphone with pretty good mids and highs, I'd say it's like a W shape with an elevated. Like bass is definitely the king, though. If that makes sense, it'd be like it'd be elevated bass, kind of a dip, and then a elevated mids, kind of a slight dip, and an elevated treble. But the bass would be the height, the higher of those ones. I wouldn't call it V-shaped or V-shaped or U-shaped. It definitely has like a weird odd, like a weird W shape to it, to me. So moving on to, I'm gonna listen to we'll do Stellia, and then we'll jump back to the Sony. Kind of. That way you get the fresh presentation of the Stellia. The Stellia, I have the Coney aftermarket pads on these. So that's something that's changed on these. I think it's a different take on them. It still has the same performance, but it does get a little bit, I think a little bit brighter with these pads, and a little bit more punchy. So something to think about. Her voice, it's and the piano in the background. These are definitely narrower stage. Imaging's good though. This feels more well, the bass is nice too. Sorry, I got lost. These so far have topped. I mean, as they should, but these, as far as like tonal balance and just pure, oof, he just kicked in singing. It sounds good. And the hi-hats, this has a similar presentation as far as imaging as the Sony's, but for me, I prefer the details better, the speed's better. I think the vocals though are, I almost want to say the vocals are better on the Sony's. But I really like the presentation of this. It's just fantastic. It just sounds just good. Like it feels more real, if that makes sense. Like I feel like if I close my eyes, I could imagine being in the venue, kind of more so than the other headphones. Yeah, I'm really a big fan of these. Real quick, Campfire Cascades. Casual gaming. Honestly, I prefer. That'd be tough. The 1770s were. I think you'd be. I think the Cascades and the both Beyers actually would be between the Cascades and the Beyers. Kind of a toss-up if you were doing more single-player stuff or like prefer bass in general, even in your games. Like if you like to hear the explosions and the rumble, I would say the Cascades. If you want to be going for more PvP stuff, I would say go with the Beyers, just because they're a little bit brighter. They don't have the bass isn't as overwhelming, so you wouldn't have to worry about losing track of sounds. For those. honestly, I don't have a adapter for the Sonys, but it'd be interesting to see how the Sonys would do. Actually, I could just play PC games. I don't know why I'm being an idiot. I've been playing console games for the past 2 weeks, so I've been not thinking properly. But the Sonys might be pretty good. They might not have the best staging, so width, but the imaging is pretty good. Let's see. Do you think detail resolution is very important for gaming? Honestly, because sometimes detail and resolution gets confused with imaging, and personally, I think for gaming, detail resolution is not as important as it is for imaging and placement of things. And for me, the stage, like I like a wider stage, and I want to be able to hear where things are coming from with the depth and the width that makes sense. But detail it's really nice to have detail. But yeah, I think I think that with that, I would say, for me personally, I would go with imaging and stage over detail resolution. Because if you know where things are coming, it doesn't matter how good you don't need to worry about resolution or detail in the sense of how the foot sounds crunching on gravel, or like the different fluctuations of voice for the resolution detail of, I don't know, like that's just like a crispness or a sharpness in the image. It's all that would give you. Whereas the imaging is more important for being able to place things and where they're at accurately to kind of immerse yourself more thoroughly into a game. So that's my take on what's more important: detail resolution versus imaging and stage. The Stellia is much better than the clear. Depends on what you're going for. I think the Stellia is more in line. I think the Stellia splits the difference between the clears and the Utopia personally. It has a little more of the fun that the clears bring, a little more oomph in the bass low end, but it still has the speed and most of the detail that the Utopia has. Not all, but it's a little more warmer, fun headphone. So that's that. I think it definitely, for me, it beats the clears, but for me, I chose my Aeolus over the clears. I had the clears, Aeolus, and then I had the LCD-X for a little bit, and between those three, I think they're all relatively similar performing, just different like flavors, if you will, and I preferred the Aeolus over the other two. The clears were real tough though, because those are some of my favorite headphones, is the clears. And then I got, and I have the Stellias now, so for me, the Stellias do beat the clears, but I personally, I don't, and Beat's a different kind of, because it's a different, like they're going for kind of two different things. One's open back, one's closed, but it's what it is. Hey Ray, do you see the Abyss down demo for headphones a while ago? I did not see that. Sorry, I'll have to go check it out. And I want to kind of touch on this again. I don't think it's much better. Like, I think once you start getting up into the higher echelons of headphones and like pricing tiers and that kind of stuff, you're kind of splitting hairs to some level. Like, things will just have different presentations, and the way they perform is different. So some things will have better detail and imaging retrieval, but they'll maybe lose out on the low end, and you just have to kind of learn to find your preference or what you're like. So I would focus on the lower stuff to find what your preference is, like what you like the most out of your music and how your headphones present that, and then try to find a similar total headphone that kind of hits those same preferences for you. That's how I would kind of approach total headphones, because they're expensive and you don't want to have a total headphone that you don't like, because that sucks. So vocals on the Sonys better than Stellia. Yeah, they're definitely. I'm gonna get back to that. Sorry, let's try now. But I do think that the vocals are slightly more forward and a little more present. So let me get a refresher real quick. Okay, refresher on those, and then jump the Sony's back in. I do think that the detail and speed was better on the Stellia for sure, and the imaging was slightly better. Let me turn this down. Yeah, I mean, if you want vocal, like definitely the vocals are definitely more forward, and the guitar and piano have a little more tonal presence. I'm not saying its tonal balance is good, but the tonal presence is a little more forward. Yeah, and the vocals, I mean, these things do kill on vocals. That is definitely a thing. I'm probably listening really loud right now. Yeah, I think these just do really well with the vocals, man. Like, oh, XC, yeah. Let me pause this real quick, and then we'll throw on the Verite Closed. Swap this stuff out a little bit. For let's see, LCD-XC is talking about closed backs. So the LCD-X, the thing that I had an issue with LCD-X was it was a little heavy. Not that it was a huge deal, but for whatever reason, the way it sat on my head, it made me feel like I was being compressed a little bit. It was a little bit heavier than I would like. That's not true. I didn't like that the way that the band, for whatever reason, which I usually prefer the Odyssey's headband, but for whatever reason with the LCD-X, might have just been that time frame that I had them. They just, and I also had a weird, I messed up my neck, kind of did it again recently, but where I jacked it up lifting weights, and so that probably didn't help. So I tried to not make that a thing about the weight, but that was something that factored in. And then the other thing I didn't like about the LCD-X was that I felt that the clear, because I had the clears on hand, and my opinions were being colored by that. Because I felt the clear was just a better headphone overall for me. I felt it had a better look, it had a better quality to it. It had I preferred the sound out of it. The X was punchy, it sounded good. But I think overall, for me, I preferred the Clear's presentation of music for what I like to listen to, or just my listening style. I don't think the X is bad. I thought it was really good for it. It's a really neutral headphone. And I think if you like the EQ, I would actually go with the X over the other two because it's more friendly to EQ. Like it's a little more EQ capable user. Like it doesn't cause too much havoc when you're messing with EQ with the planars especially. And the X was definitely one that can be played with a little bit more, and you can get more into your preference that way. Hey, how's that, Hiram? So I'm pretty ADHD with my audio as far as stuff I like to listen to. My current, actually, and Elric you can thank him for this one, but he re-showed me a band and a song that I haven't listened to for a long time, or what have you. But Miss Ida B by Buddy Guy, you can go down that rabbit hole and see what else comes recommended after that. Those are always fun. I'm a big fan of that. Go Go Penguin is another good band for kind of audiophile music. And to be honest with you, I listen to all sorts of stuff. I'm very the eclectic part plays into my musical taste. I don't listen to usually one album at a time. I tend to have like 1,000 tracks that are just all over the place, and I hit shuffle, and that's how I listen when I relax and just want to listen for enjoyment. And then I'll kind of cruise around depending on that. A lot of Phil Collins stuff is great. There's a bunch of the classics like that. Let's see, Toto is another good one you can listen to some of their stuff. I like a lot of Macy Gray. Macy Gray does some really fantastic stuff. Oh, another one that was really good that just came out was the new Blue Note. It's Blue Note RE Imagined, and Georgia Smith, Jorja Smith. Is one of the singers, I think she's in a lot of the tracks for that new Reimagined, but it's the Blue Note Records, Blue Note Reimagined, and that's a fantastic album. So just a couple to kind of jump off of or on. Yeah. I like house music. I like everything, man. Honestly, I listen to. My thinking is this: I don't care what the genre is. If I like that specific song, then I like that song. I don't care what the genre is. If that speaks to me, then that's the song I like to listen to. Like, so I don't really care if it's a country song, a blues, a jazz, a bluegrass, a hip hop to underground, whatever. It's just I like music, and I like artists. I think that's really cool. So, and yeah, Eldrick, that is Odyssey's gimmick. I mean, they even have their own software for EQing their headphones. So, and they recommend it. So that's something to think about when you get an Odyssey, is that they take the EQ well. So if you like that sort of thing, Odyssey is the way to go, or Planars is the way to go. I think HiFi is equally as good, but I think Odysseys do take to EQ a little bit better, from my understanding. And yeah, Tom, you kind of nailed my thoughts on it too. I think, especially with the Aria, I think the Aria does what the LCDX does, but slightly better. You're paying for it; it's a couple $100 more, but it's straight out of the box a little bit better. Not my preference, but as far as technicality and capabilities, I do think the Aria is a better headphone, but I would think so, because it's I think a better comparison would be the Ananda versus the LCDX, but then I think the LCDX beats the Ananda. All right, let's do the final round, and then I'll keep chatting with you guys and gals before letting you get back to your days. Let's see here. The Verite Closed. I need to grab my polish and polish these up. They're getting a little bit used here. Let's see here. Yeah, drift. I think. Wow, at least I have really good isolation. I sound like I'm in a fishbowl. It does seem that way, and that might be what the unique factor is. Because like you could tell, like when I was listening to this track I'm listening to for this evaluation, The Thing About Love, you could tell that the singers are on either side of a mic almost. That's what, or at least that's the presentation I'm getting. I don't know how they recorded that, but that's the imaging or presentation I'm getting. Like it's two people singing into a mic, and that might be where that warble comes from with the Cascades. Like it picked that up maybe. I don't know, but that's what it sounded like to me. So yeah, I could see that. It does seem like you can see, and that might be why it's so much more present and more forward. Is that because it's picking up that they're closer to the mic. So, as I slap myself in the face a bunch and make odd gestures. So, VC, Think About Love. And I'll jump back to the Sonys. And these take a lot more juice, so. Oh, man. Oh. The tonal balance for me is just. The reverb, it's because it's echoey presentation, but like it's just, and the bass sounds so far, and this is my personal bias preference, what have you, but these are it. Oh, and the drums, oh, the imaging, oh, he's kicked in with the drums and hitting the hi-hat, and it like starts right here and then kind of goes, like you could hear him hit this hi-hat and then this oh, and the vocals together, they're singing. It's a wider presentation. It's a little bit leaner. But the bass is nice. Oof. These just, for me, these are my jam. Like, I just like the way these present. So, sorry, I'm probably yelling because these were loud. These to me are my, like, if I could only have one headphone, it would be these, specifically the Verite Closed. I have the Verite Opens behind me, and I think they're very similar. The reverb with the closed cups, though, and then the fact that they're almost on par with the staging and width, is fantastic. I don't know what it is about these, but to me these are magical for me. If we ever get can jams going again, or you ever go to like a ZM Festivus or an audio show that ZMF shows up to, I highly recommend getting or you have friends that have them, I recommend giving those a go, because those are fantastic. And they're not for everybody, just like anything. Headphones are headphones, and you know, some are going to be not the preference of others. Nature of the world. If everybody loved these, yeah, sorry, I was a little zoning out there. It's been a while since I've been listening to headphones. I've been getting into speakers a little bit, or listening to speakers more. I busted out some old JBLs for my living room and waiting on some Kefs to show up. So I've been listening to speakers mostly recently, and so yeah, being able to come in with headphones. Prefer for the VCs. I actually like the Auteur, the stock Auteur pads that come with them. Those are my favorite. They just give it the most that 3D factor there, the 3D-ness that people like to talk about with ZMF. VCs specifically, that those give the most of that, and they just, to me, they hit the balance that I like to have. With the Verite or the Universe Closed, those get a little more punchy for me. I think I might be recollecting incorrectly, because I also have another pad set that I got. I have the Auteur hybrids as well, but yeah, baseline is the Auteur pads. So solid Auteur pads. All right, let's jump into these. This needs to go back to there. Sony's. And by the way, the vocal presence was really good on the VC. But okay. The vocals are just damn good on these. I don't know what to tell you. I would say they have a similar tonal balance as the VCs and even the Stellia to some level, but they're just more forward. The presence of the vocals on these is just I mean, these are also $200, so I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, just for the experience of hearing vocals so forward and so present, like that, these really do that number really well. For an overall package, I would say I would pick the Stellia or the VC. But if I really wanted to get into like a very intimate like vocals where I just wanted to be overwhelmed by someone singing to me, I would probably have to say this. These are, and I need to try them with. I need to try these with Yaxi pads. I might have to order some. I might have to go order some of those modded ones that Drifting Bunnies talks about. But yeah, these are good. Yeah, so vocally, if you like vocals, for me, would I listen to these every day? Probably not. Are they worth it for if you're into vocals a lot? Yes, definitely. And so yeah, that's something. My takeaway from that is that if you these are damn good for the price, especially if you like vocals. Jump into some questions. Unique melody of the VC. Unique melody in regards to like what's the DB, can you elaborate on that, and I'll try to answer that. Oh, Elnick, the Sonys and tubes, I thought they were okay, but like anything with a lower impedance, they got a little bloaty. Vocals are still really good, but the rest of the surrounding just kind of got a little wonk. Wasn't bad, but if you get into like if you had a really nice hybrid, that might be okay. It would probably kind of help with that. I was using my KN because I don't have an adapter for the Sonys to use off anything but my KN, and then in that one, it was fine, but you could still like that bloat was a little bit there. You know what I'm talking about. I have not tried the crack because I tried it with the KN, like I said, and that was already enough, and I was like, there's no way these would go good. Oh, Planet Words, gotcha. Yeah, the VCs are fantastic. And as far as for gaming, yes, I love the VCs with gaming. I use them to play Cyberpunk, to Destiny, to whatever's on PC. Because usually I have those plugged in, and that's what I usually grab and listen. And most often than not, when I'm playing games on my PC, is I'm listening with my VC. So I love them with, and even for like competitive, I was playing Call of Duty with it. And not that I'm a competitive player, but you know, playing with like Chrono or those guys, that's what I'd use the VCs, and I felt that they did more than adequate for picking up stuff, like footsteps, that kind of stuff. But yeah, so hybrid would probably be best with, if you want to try the Sony specifically with tube. I would definitely recommend going hybrid, just because you need to, it got a little bloaty. Yes, that's right, Rhino. It's the bigger plug, and then you can't swap it out. So you'd have to get some kind of adapter to step it down. Come on, you can focus. There you go. So it's the big boy, and so you'd have to get a step down adapter of some sort, or get the modded version, because I think the modded version you can swap out the cable. It's like a cable mod too, I believe. Anyways, yeah. Various, yeah, I just love them with vocal acoustics. Yeah, so vocal acoustic tracks for the Sonys are just, I do notice that if it gets, they also pick up, so like this Thing About Love does have some grain in it, and that's what I was picking up with some of the other stuff, like the Cascades even, and it does have grain, and some of the headphones will pick it up more so than others. Not a bad thing. I don't think it's just some of the headphones just may be more sensitive to those areas where that grain hits. And the Sonys will pick it up if you start cranking it a little bit loud. The VCs picked it up, but it was enjoyable enough to where you can kind of not pay attention to it. The one that was kind of weird was the T5. That one, for whatever reason, when that hit, and then the weird, like, that one just had the weirdest sound with certain things. So I don't know what the deal with that is, but that's that. But yeah, and so if that's kind of why I already I'm surprised I cranked through that in an hour. But if there's anything else you guys want to chat about, let me know, and I'll hang out for another couple minutes if there's anything else, and then I'll let you guys get back to your afternoons, lunches, or depending on what time zone you are, evenings, morning, and go from there. But yeah, so I think kind of like a end all would be that the Sony's fantastic for vocals and acoustic, like Drifting was saying. The Beyers are pretty close, but they have more of a flatter presentation of the different instruments and singing, like on the vocals, like, so they're not as forward with the vocals, and I think that there's some weirdness going on with the bass for both the Beyers, and then the T5 had a little bit, T5 Mark II had a little weirdness with the some of the mid highs, high mids, mid highs, and some of the highs. And then I would say the Stellia is pretty darn close, but the vocals are better on the I'd say actually the closest, but then everything would be more forward with the other stuff. Like, it was a little bit better imaging, way better detail. But it was the closest to the vocals was the Stellia, but the Sonys did, I think, personally have a little bit better presentation of the vocals. But the Stellias were fantastic. The VCs for me are just my go-to in game. Those make me happy. So, and I think and then just find your pads. Like, I think Ninja Pirate was saying, like, he likes the universes over the tours, which that's perfect. That's something I love about ZMF is you can take the different pads. Like, they have so many different pads to, like, kind of fine tune to what you like, which is great. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at with those at the end of the day. Yeah, and I think if you want to talk gaming, I would say the VCs are excellent, but I don't know if anybody wants to pay that much money for a gaming headphone. The Beyers would do fantastic as well. I think the Sonys would be okay, but they're not exactly the widest stage, but they have pretty good imaging. And I guess really comes down to your price. And then the Stellias I've used those for gaming as well, and they're pretty good, but they're just, is what it is. Oh, the Radiance. Yeah. So the Radiance were great to me because they're kind of like a baby, not quite, but like kind of like a baby Stellia in the sense that they split the difference between an Elysia and a clear more so. So they have the closed backness of a Stellia or an Elysia, but they're unique, but they were the closer ones to the clears as far as performance. They were fast. They had a nice punch to them, really good sound. So yeah, I really like the Radiance. I'm hoping that, fingers crossed, that Focal recognizes that those are good headphones and they don't make them a limited run and maybe figure out a way to make them out something else. But because I really enjoyed those. Those were really good, and they're a third the price of a Stellia. So I could say they're a step up from the Elysia for sure. They had better bass presentation. They reminded me more of a closed back clear than the Elysia did. A little more presentation, more presence. They had nice punch, that kind of stuff. What's up, Marcello? I'm actually just getting ready to roll out. But yeah, the Radiance were fantastic. I think that they fit nicely in the lineup in the sense that they're closer to the Stellia, but the Stellia to me still has way more detail, better imaging. They're faster and tonally a little bit better, but the Radiance were pretty fantastic, especially if you compare them to such as a clear in that realm. Like they fit closer to the closed back clear range. Yeah, man, Ray, throw it our way. If you're not, you should see about joining Marcello's Discord. I'm in there a bunch, and you can share files that way. And to hit him up, yeah, that'd be really cool to check out. Love listening to music, man. That's awesome. So yeah, I think with that, end of the day, I think unless there's anything else, Ray, hit up Marcello about maybe getting that to get on his Discord and sharing it there, and we can track it out or send a link or something like that. Japanese music, I did actually. Well, Japanese music, is that accurate? Definitely listen to some. Oh, here, I did listen to Baby Metal, so that does count, right? They're Japanese music. Listen to some Baby Metal, which surprisingly did pretty well with these. It kept up with the Baby Metal. Was really surprised at how well it kept up with the Baby Metal, actually, and it didn't make it so like egregious. Didn't make it so overwhelming. Where's the other track? I listened to a couple other singers, Korean, and where is that track at? Why can't I find it? Actually, where? Filipino singer from England, so that's not Japanese, but Kiara, I think that's what it's here. Let me wow, why did I just do that? I will find it again and I will put it up on the thing here, so we're right there so you can see it. But I listened to this one and Susan Wong. What Japanese music would you like me to try? How about that? Drift, and I'll throw it on real quick. Oh yeah, so hey Ray, yeah, so just go on the forum and just do a direct message or even share your link there on the forum. Yeah, Drift, we'll hit you. Hit me up with some music and I'll try it out. And then we'll go from. I'll talk to you on the Discords or on the forum or what have you. Millet acoustic track. All right, we'll try it real quick since I have a little bit of time here. Millet US version, acoustic version, us. Does that look right? All right. Sounds really clear, really crisp. I can see if you're listening on like certain other tracks, this could be a little too bright. On these, it sounds pretty great. Yeah, it sounds really good. I like this. Yeah, that sounds really good. I like that one. Yeah, that sounded really good, man. That's definitely, I can see where certain other headphones might present that very sorry, not much. I'm just closing up the stream and just kind of catching up. So this track drift, pretty. I enjoyed it in the sense like it's exactly almost like perfect for these because it hits like all those perfect notes. In the sense of like the presence of the vocals, the guitar acoustic, that mid range, and the vocals and where those live, it I could see if you're way into it, that could bring a tear to your eye with these. I could see if I tried that on some of the other headphones, that probably would be maybe a little bit too bright, too high in the too much in the highs. But with these, it definitely that was good. All right, let's try this high, and then I'll let you guys go. I did say goodbye, and I'm still talking. So, as Morif likes to say, the forever goodbye. Also, I'll do this last track. Highest. Oh, I get it. Okay, I get it. High as a kite. Keep that letter safe. Soundstage. Yeah, I would say 1770 had a little bit better soundstage for sure. Keep that letter safe. Yep, there it is. Whoa, trippy. Going back and forth. Vocals are really good. It has a nice echo at the end. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, man, if you like vocals and you want it to be focused on vocals, these definitely are pretty fantastic for that. Yeah. But yeah, these are vocal kings or queens, however you want to determine that. So yeah, with that being said, I think I'll let you guys head out, and I'm gonna go get some other work done and get some other things done for the day and go from there. So thanks for jumping in with me, guys and gals, and chat with you next time. I'm gonna probably do a Legacy 4 quick thing probably later this week as well, so I'll try to get that out there and scheduled up. Maybe I even just do it tomorrow just to get it off the plate, or Thursday. So all right, have a good one, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your day or evening. Cheers.